Hello and welcome to the Great Minds Together podcast,
where we explore neurodiversity, mental health, inclusive practice and the lived experiences that drive positive change.
Each episode we speak with inspiring young people, parents, professionals and change makers who are shaping the world of neurodiversity, SEND policies and everything in between.
Whether you're a parent, practitioner, young person or simply passionate about inclusion,
you're in the right place.
So, with that being said,
let's get into today's conversation.
Thanks for joining me today, Liz.
Thanks for having me.
So today we're here to talk about how to support a PA. What is a PA? Personal assistant. Because obviously we've got our skills and care session, so we've had a deep dive into that a bit. And just, talk about all things kind of PA.
Sounds good.
So thank you for joining me.
No, thanks for having me.
Lovely to have you here.
Again.
Yes, we've got...
I didn't think I'd be back.
So I suppose the logical place to start is kind of what is a PA? Really? It's a slightly contested kind of phrase, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think there's any single definition that I've ever heard of a personal assistant, and I actually class myself as a personal assistant for my son as a parent carer or an unpaid carer family member. But yeah, there is a bit of a uncertainty around the word of am I a personal assistant?
Yeah.
I think if you are caring for somebody in any form, then technically you are a personal assistant.
I know I have officially been employed as a personal assistant and have employed personal assistants. So I've had a varied experience of it, I think, but I think the term does cause a bit of confusion. I think it causes confusion for people booking on our Skills for Care shifts.
Absolutely.
Isn't it?
Yeah. It's a potential barrier really, isn't it? Because people say, am I eligible to attend that funded session? Am I not eligible? And I think one of the things that I really try to let parent and carers know, especially, is the first aid training. So we offer the face-to-face free training in our office in Stockport. And, as parent and carers, it's a great life skill to have, to be first aid trained, especially if we have children who are neurodivergent or have additional needs. So yeah, if you are a parent or carer, please attend our session. Don't let the word personal assistant put you off.
I suppose when we're thinking about personal assistant, really, I mean, there's a whole variety of things that, if you are employed as a personal assistant, it's maybe about providing personal care, support in the house. For me, when I was a personal assistant employed by somebody, I was able to offer times where I would take the young person out and we'd go bowling or we'd come to my house. And so it enabled Dad to have respite, enabled Dad to have a break, but also kind of the young chap that I was kind of working with, I was working with him to support his independence and going out and about into the community and things. So it was kind of multifunctional, I suppose, when I was a PA. And I did it for about 3 or 4 years. And from my perspective, it worked really well because it kind of worked around my family life at the time. It was a couple of hours a week that I did. And I was paid by direct payments when I did that. It was going back a few years ago now, but I absolutely loved it. I found it a really, really rewarding job to do. But it was interesting how it came about because it was a young person that I kind of had known previously. And I think that's how a lot of people tend to find personal assistants.
Definitely. Yeah.
And I think from my perspective, when I think personally with my son, when we really kind of needed some personal assistant support for him, it was really difficult because his needs are so specific due to his kind of autism and communication needs. He couldn't leave the house. So actually just the process of finding somebody that he felt comfortable and safe with, that I felt comfortable and safe with, was really, really difficult, actually. I think that's what a lot of people...
Yeah. I've seen quite a lot of things on Facebook where people put a picture of the young person in the middle of it. And then it's difficult because, like you said, each personal assistant will have a specific role to that individual. So they may be a personal assistant for, like an elderly lady that, like I said, you might need to do her shopping, you might need to take her to the doctor appointment. Whereas with a young person who's potentially autistic, it could be, like you say, that you are getting them out into the world, the community. That's the word. Had a mind block then. So, you could be, like, say, taking them bowling or taking them to the gym. I know when I've had somebody work with my son, that was what they did. It was a little bit of respite for me. It was Jack who used to work here, and he would take Aiden to the gym. But I think the the difference between the different roles is based on that individual, isn't it?
Yeah.
And what they need. But back to, sorry, what I was saying about these, like the thing on social media is like they have like a picture of the young person in the middle, and then it has like their interest. So it might say like, I like bowling, I like spending time on my own, I like doing people's hair. And then somebody looks at that, it's a clear visual, and they can think, can I bring to that young person what they need as a personal assistant? And a lot of the time they've been done specifically with the young person as well. So they're really good. But it like I say, it's hard, isn't it? Because, you know, both of our children are quite complex, aren't they, with their needs, and that can be a potential barrier for.
I ended up having to employ a family member.
Yeah.
And I think that can be a lot of people's experiences, because he wasn't attending school. So it wasn't like there was, you know, anybody in school that kind of, you know, and at the time I didn't really know how to find a PA. And like you, I've seen on lots of kind of social media platforms like Facebook, so like your local community groups, or, you know, parent SEN groups. You see it more and more now, don't you? Kind of PA needed.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've kind of done it from both sides, and I found it a really, really, really rewarding job to do. So if it is something that you're listening to and thinking about, I would absolutely say, you know, explore it, because it could be something that you could do a couple of hours a week on top of, you know, kind of your day job almost, really. Weekends, it could be, you know, a couple of hours a month. And it can be such a rewarding
Definitely. Yeah. And also doing it for different individuals as well. Like, you know, you could be going out and doing someone's shopping in the morning, and then you could be like taking somebody to bowling or something like that. So it's like a varied day. And I think with the Skills for Care, so we are working well with Skills for Care at the minute. We've got a partnership with them, and they're an amazing organisation, and they're implementing networks and, you know, all sorts of funding. There's so much funding available. And, you know, if you look at their website, it is all about adult social care, which obviously there is something missing for children's social care, but I'm hoping that will come in time. But, you know, we've got all our sessions. So if you are a PA or parent carer and you'd like to book onto any of our sessions, we have them on sensory differences, low arousal approach, low demand approaches. But then also as a parent and carer or an individual employer, there's a session on how to support your PA as an employer, because technically you do become an employer, don't you?
Do you think that puts people off?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. And I think it's hard as well for the PA, because, you know, they might be going into it as a new role, something they've never done before, and then they're either self-employed or employed, and they're not employed as the typical employee, you know, like when you go into an organisation. And I attended the Skills for Care network meeting last week, and there was people on there who are the individual employer and they are the disabled person. And, you know, they've got their own needs, and then now they're having to accommodate the needs of their staff. Of their personal assistant, which again can cause potential barriers.
There's lots of resources there, isn't there? I think they got a toolkit. So the Skills for Care was an employing a personal assistant toolkit. So if you are at the point where you are kind of looking at, you know, needing a PA, whether it's for yourself or a loved one, there's a toolkit on the Skills for Care website in which it kind of helps you with job descriptions and adverts and interview, because you've got to kind of do all that. Haven't you?
And the insurances, legislation, holidays, and there is actually funding available on the Skills for Care website as well. So if I had a PA and they were going to do some training, the funding would pay for a different PA to come in and support either myself as a disabled person or my young person. So that's something to look into. You know, that's, you know, a lot of parent and carers, they've not got that money readily available to think, I still need my PA just because my original PA's gone off to do a training course for the day. So, you know, there's so much funding available. And also if you haven't done an A-level, I'm not sure what level an A-level is nowadays, you can be paid to do college courses basically at A-level.
Right.
So,
and is that information on the
all on the website? Yeah, we'll link it into the social media on this. So you can just go straight to that funding, and there's like I say, there's so much available.
Yeah.
And we also have our staff skills that we offer.
Yeah. So that's a kind of part of our package.
Yeah.
Really. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that then, and what that looks like for people?
Yeah. So we have staff skills, which is an online CPD accredited course, and it's got over 900 courses. I think that's on there, isn't there? And we are offering 6 free accounts for anyone who wants to book onto any of our sessions. The sessions are also free. Again, we'll link the link to the sessions on the social media post, and then you can just go on that, pick your courses. They can be from looking after rabbits, cupcake decorating, to, you know, safeguarding, anxiety, autism, personal care. There's such a wide range of courses
anything
on
that
there.
you're interested in.
Yeah.
You kind of want to learn more about something on there.
Definitely. And as like a personal assistant, where, you know, you might be working with somebody that you've not dealt with that need before, you know, there may be something there's likely something on there that could help upskill you. So that's really good. There's just loads. I couldn't just,
and that's all free, isn't it?
Yeah, all
That's it. And
all
that's
free,
something
yeah.
that obviously you get the certificate.
Yeah.
And that's something that you can, you know, you've got forever.
Yeah.
You can take it with you, don't you?
Yeah.
That's definitely worth knowing about. I don't really want to go into the ins and outs too much of like, you know, looking at personal budgets.
Yeah.
Because I think what we ideally want to do is direct people to our sessions,
Yes.
which is where you're going to find out all that information. But I think it just, because we're both parents, and I think it just would be nice to maybe just touch a little bit on the experience of, because, you know, there's potentially lots of people sat watching this who are in a similar situation to us, or where we have been, and just feeling a little bit overwhelmed, and kind of, I suppose, what to do if it's something you think you might, you know, am I entitled to it? Where do you start, I suppose, with it?
I think the first place to start is like getting the funding, isn't it? Because you can't recruit somebody until you've got that kind of funding in place. And the best place to go for that is your local offer, because each local authority is different. So I'm in Tameside, and mine was paid via direct payments via the DLA.
Yeah.
But then, you know, in other areas,
Mine was nothing to do with my
Yeah.
son's DLA. It was completely different. It was sort of a pot of money that he was allocated, and then I was able to kind of, but it was a very limited pot of money. And then the person that I worked as a PA for was again very different. I think he had a personal budget, but he'd had a needs assessment. So again, you know, a needs assessment is something I would probably signpost parents to. And apparently the Cerebra website has templates for asking for a social care needs assessment, if that's something you think. There's so many kind of avenues to explore, and it can it can feel very overwhelming. And I am very aware of that. But just know, I suppose, if you are a parent carer watching this, know that you're not alone, and there are lots of organisations, we are one included, that are there to kind of support you through this process. There's lots of templates and information, and I think social media is a really good place to turn to, isn't it? So many of the parent carers have been through it, gone through it, and it's that kind of peer support, I think, which we're huge advocates.
Yes, we are.
We love peer support, because actually there's nothing better, I think, than speaking to somebody who's gone through it, experienced it, and has, you know, learned and can guide you through.
I think that's what it is sometimes, isn't it? Like, how many times have I come to you in this situation, and you just kind of help me to process it? And even though, you know, you might not know the answers, but you could just help me process it in my brains. For all other parents, you know, like say, having that peer support, someone who's been through it, they might not have the answers, they might not live in the same local authority as you're, the same area, but, you know, just being able to help you process it, and understanding, you know, the frustrations and the potential barriers that you're coming up against. But there is differences as well with children and adults as well. So when you're recruiting a personal assistant for a child, the criteria is different to with an adult. And again, our session covers that, you know.
So which session is that?
So it's how to support your personal assistant as an employer.
Yeah. And do we run that every month? Or is it every couple of months?
Every quarter, so it's once every quarter that we get on. But if anybody did want to reach out and ask some questions, we would be more than happy to help, you know. So you can always email us, and we will absolutely reply. We would give you the information, give you the toolkit, give you a little bit of our own lived experience. So I personally haven't ever been able to recruit a personal assistant, but I have been through the process of trying to find a personal assistant that was, you know, was suitable for my son and suitable for us. And also going through that funding. You've obviously been a PA, you've had a PA for your son, so, you know, you can speak from your lived experience as well. But yeah, there's just so much. The one thing that I do feel is missing, and that does need to kind of be set up, is kind of a network for personal assistants. Yeah.
I think part of the problem with that, in terms of why it hasn't happened already, is just this definition of PA.
Yeah.
We've worked on a couple of programs, haven't we, where part of our kind of KPI was supporting PAs.
Yeah.
It's been really, really difficult to pin down what we actually mean by PA.
Yeah.
And I do think that's part of the problem. I think there are so many PAs out there who are PAs that don't even realise they're PAs. And also, there's so much kind of support out there. And, when we look at the funding that's available and the training that's available, I don't think a lot of people know that they are, which is the whole point of us doing this.
Well, we didn't cross Skills for Care until we were doing Autism Central. And, and then they told us about the user-led organisations and how you can apply for funding. And, when I look at that website, I learn something new every time I look on there, because there's, like saying with the A levels, a lot of people wouldn't be aware of that just because you've not got a level 2 or whichever level it is, that you can go on and apply for it and it would be funded for you. Like, that's massive for so many people.
I wish I knew about it when I was A, looking for a PA, and B, when I was a PA for all those years. I wish I'd known that actually I could have had a look on this website. There were so many resources for me. I think the training is a really kind of useful element of it. I mean, we do we've got safeguarding.
Because
it's safeguarding.
Safeguarding. I think the biggie is the first aid. I do do push that because it's good for everybody. We're all responsible for somebody in some way, shape or form, be us at work or even for our own health and safety, and I just think that's such a great thing that we're offering. And when you do go onto Skills for Care website, there is other organisations that offer different training because we are specific for neurodiversity. So we talk about our lived experience with autism and neurodiversity, whereas other areas might be covering a personal assistant, like I said, for it could be a 30-year-old man who's in a wheelchair, and different needs for what we offer. So it is worth checking out Skills for Care website, and also our website as well, because we've got so much on there. And just remembering as well that there isn't a specific definition for the words personal assistant. I class myself as a personal assistant, as a parent carer, so I would attend those sessions. And we do have quite a lot of questions coming in via social media about
people not sure if they can book on.
Am I eligible? Can I attend this session? Absolutely, you can. There's no definition with Great Minds Together. We just book on. It's absolutely fine.
Well, perfect. So I think we've kind of covered everything that we wanted to cover today. I think the main take home I'd like people to do is to start with the Skills for Care website, look at our website, book on the sessions, and just know that there is that support available for you, and you don't have to do it alone. That's kind of what I'd like people to take home from today. So short and sweet one today.
Yes,
thank you so much.
Lots of information.
And we'll add some links. I think we're going to put a link to a video.
Yes. So Ali Bubb is an individual employer, and she's released a video on her experience of employing personal assistants and how she used Skills for Care resources to help her. So we will be adding that onto the end of this podcast, yes. And there's also a video from the lady who runs Skills for Care. So I'll add that in as well, because she talks about Skills for Care and their vision and, what it is that they want to achieve, which is a really useful video as well. So we'll add both of them into the end of this.
Perfect. And we'll add some links to both the websites that we've talked about.
Yeah.
So
perfect.
So I hope you've enjoyed the podcast today. I hope you've got to come back.
Yeah.
Right.
We'll see.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's Great Minds Together podcast.
If you found this conversation valuable, please share it with others.
And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode.
You can learn more about our work and resources at greatmindstogether.co.uk
And follow us on social media for regular updates.
Until next time, keep celebrating difference and driving inclusion.